Aloha, it's Tia Carrere, and you're watching Life Minute TV.
Actress and Grammy-winning singer Tia Carrere burst onto the scene, captivating audiences as cool girl Cassandra Wong in the 90s Wayne's World. The Honolulu-born beauty has since starred in a slew of projects. However, acting is far from her only forte. Her ethereal voice has scored her 2 Grammy Award wins and 4 nominations for Best Hawaiian Music Album. She's also paid homage to her Hawaiian roots, lending her vocal talents to beloved animated movie Lilo Stitch.
Yes, I'm Nani.
More than 20 years later, she's returned to the franchise in the highly anticipated live-action version of the Disney fan favorite. We heard all about it and more when she stopped by the Life Minute studios earlier this week. This is a Life Minute with Tia Carrere.
I can't believe that it's been 22 years since I did the first one. I mean, getting to do the animated feature and playing the older sister Nani and, imparting all of my Hawaiian, cultural references, like singing the song Aloha Oi to say goodbye to my sister. Aloha Oi. Talking with the pidgin accent, like local people talk in Hawaii. I mean, getting to introduce all that into a new character was amazing. And now, all this time later, being able to play the more mature mentor role to the teenage girl. So it's just, I feel like the cycles of life for a woman almost. That's sort of what it's dovetailed with for me, When I did the cartoon, the animated feature, I was shooting a TV series. So I was traveling around the world. I was in Toronto, Spain, England, France. So I voiced that over the course of 2 years in Burbank, Toronto. So it was very disjointed, and I didn't even meet Lilo until the premiere. And now with this one, getting to go back to Hawaii and spend time there and to be connected to the other actors in the piece, it's more visceral. It's more to have that energy between people on screen. It's a different thing altogether.
So, what can I get you to drink?
Do you have tea? I loved getting to work with Sydney, who plays Nani, and Maya, who plays Lilo. Amazing, amazing casting, wonderful girls, really good girls. And Courtney Vance and I are hilarious because we're kind of villainous because we're, basically trying to take Lilo away from her sister. We're social services, after all. Getting to meet Zach Galifianakis and, Downtime and, visit with him. I did his TV show, like a little snippet on his TV show ages ago, I think in the 90s.
Fila Ferrari party.
Are you that famous guy, Zach?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey.
Cool.
Getting to talk now and, just hang out in my favorite place on earth, Hawaii. It was pretty awesome. And Dean Fleischer Camp, I loved Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, made me cry. So I got to tell him how much I loved that piece. And the producers, I worked with them on Easter Sunday, that movie I did with Joe Coy. So it's really just a great group of people that I got to work with and hang out with in Hawaii. I think that fans are going to be amazed when they see the CGI that they do to bring Stitch to life, because the cartoon, it's so beloved, it's so in our minds a certain way that they really had to raise the bar to make it believable. And they went through, I think, many different iterations of the Stitch character to find that right balance between when he's menacing, he's terrifying. When he's a cute little blue guy that's got his big eyes and, trains it at Lilo, that he's truly adorable and you're like, you just love him. But that was a delicate balance to match, and I think they did a great job with it. I was just saying that I flew in from Manila, was in LA for 24 hours, changed my luggage, came here to New York for 2 days, going back to LA to do the press junket for Lilo and Stitch for 2 days, and then I'm going back to Manila to work on this film called The Last Resort, directed by Don Petrie, who did Miss Congeniality, written by my girlfriend Karen McCullough, who wrote House Bunny and Legally Blonde and so many other movies. Oh, and I get to work with my director of photography from True Lies. Russell Carpenter is working on it also. The star of it is Daisy Ridley, who was in the Star Wars movie, and Alden Ehrenreich, who was in, I think, young Han Solo. He played young Han Solo. So my dad's from the Philippines, so it's great to go there and have it as a cultural touchstone,
Ain't got no reason for reaction.
Well, I loved working on the soundtrack in Wayne's World because I'm a singer. I started out as a singer, and I love that you have all this music paraphernalia because, you know, I did start out singing, and I thought that was going to be my life's journey, was to be a singer, not an actress, until I was discovered in a grocery store, and that's how I got my first movie. But, you know, my grandma took me to my first singing lesson when I was 11. I performed at like talent shows and sang at the local shopping malls, and I sang everywhere. So that's always been my passion. It's been a great life. I think in Wayne's World, getting to work with Ted Templeman, who worked with Van Halen, the first concert I ever saw at the Forum, unbelievable. Ted Templeman produced, you know, Van Halen and produced a soundtrack for Wayne's World. I'm like, holy cow, this is crazy that I get to be here and, you know, sing. I sang with a rock band in junior high, but I lost my voice to laryngitis, singing so hard. I mean, if you hear the voice of the guy that, I forget his name, lead singer of AC/DC, his voice before he started singing that hard rock, and then his voice after, he completely destroyed his vocal cords. It's very painful, and I feel like I'm doing damage to my vocal cords singing like that. So my druthers are to sing more melodic and like my Hawaiian stuff that I won my 2 Grammys for. I like, you know, aloha, oi, aloha, oi. You know, the air and the breath and the softness and the flow of the melody. You know, the vibration just, it's just better for me. So, but it was fun singing, you know, rock in Wayne's World and in my youth. I drink lots of water, sleep, except when I'm doing press junkets. I don't like to talk that much because talking is harder on your vocal cords than singing. You don't want to dry yourself out. I mean, I just had coffee because I'm exhausted, but generally speaking, you know, not too much coffee, not too much alcohol, lots of sleep, lots of water. I carry this stuff called Entertainers. I don't. It's a spray, like a glycerin spray for your throat. Slippery elm lozenges to keep, you know, your throat moisturized. I love listening to other people's music, and I just discovered, like, not just discovered, but I saw her on SNL, Lola Young, singing Messy, and hearing these young women come up with these daring lyrics, amazing lyrics, and singing, and they're fresh, and they're unlike anybody else, and I just love that maverick spirit. So I'm inspired by other female musicians, you know, or like back when, you know, Melissa Etheridge came out with her hard-hitting country, kind of sort of country rock kind of song, anthemic. You know, Sarah McLachlan, the first time I heard Sarah McLachlan, was like the voice of an angel. That inspires me, hearing other women making their most beautiful art in this art form that I love. I loved getting to co-host the Grammys. There's a pre-telecast where you give out like 100 Grammys. I think I gave Colby Calais her first Grammy.
This is my first Grammy. I'm gonna cry.
I gave Jason Reitman his Grammy for, I think it was Juno or one of his movies, and getting to be part of that. And then I got to perform to open the ceremony at the Grammys and dedicate it to my grandma, who was having her birthday on that date, and she was watching it in front of the computer. So, like, getting to dedicate my Grammys to my Grammy, who was watching it.
Mind if I hold your hand?
Well, we've got to start somewhere.
I was on Star Search, but that was like in October of '84 when I moved to LA 41 years ago from Hawaii. It's crazy to even say it out loud. I got to stop counting because it's like a lot at this point. When I say I've been there for 50 years, that's when I have to go back to Hawaii and like retire with a tiki bar or something. I was on the acting category, which is weird. Like, how do you judge who's a better actor? Robert De Niro or Al Pacino? You know, Ed Norton or Willem Dafoe? It's impossible. Everybody's a different flavor. They've got, you know, whatever. So I went in, and it was the only category that was open. So I'm like, okay, I'll do this, even though I had only just started acting. I did well. I didn't win, but it got me used to performing in a scene on television, I guess, and it was a good learning experience. That just because you don't win that particular little contest, it has no bearing on whether you're good or not, whether you have a career or not, because like 41 years later, it just seemed like life unfolded in front of me, you know? being discovered in a grocery store, getting a movie, getting the female lead in a movie, getting your Screen Actors Guild card, moving to Hollywood and starting to get work. It seemed like I just had to go with the flow. You know, sometimes when you just see a path open up in front of you, you just have to go with it. I didn't have enough money to go to college. I didn't have grades good enough to get me a scholarship. I mean, I was B+, A-. I didn't really apply myself, but I got good grades, but not to get a scholarship. So I'm glad that this job opportunity opened up and took me for the next 4 decades. I wish I had been more vocal and saying, no, that doesn't feel right for me. I really believe in my heart of hearts that this is the path I need to take. But when you're young, you're 17, 18, you know, you're kind of questioning yourself, and people are able to talk you into things that, you know, maybe don't suit you, and they're not looking out for your best interests. So that's what I tell anybody that's coming up and ask for advice. You know, not that I'm like any sage, wise person, but I bumbled my way through and figured out that the most important thing is to be clear about what you want. Even if you're not clear about where you want to go, you know what suits you and what doesn't suit you and what feels wrong in your gut, because that's all you can follow. Nobody knows exactly, is this job going to be a huge hit? Is that going to be, you know? I'm glad the time that I really listened to myself was when I was going to get a job on Baywatch. I was going to be on there, but I read the script, Wayne's World, and I'm like, this is the movie. This is my job. I can act it. I can sing it. I can do the martial arts. That sureness within me, thankfully I listened to it that time, because, you know, it didn't make any sense. Nobody else would know. Nobody knew what Wayne's World was. And here's Baywatch. It's a regular job on a series, you know. It's got money, regular money. But it didn't feel as exciting to me as this movie as soon as I read it. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen. I mean, when he's addressing the camera and talking to the camera and then going back into the scene, or, you know, doing that product placement thing, he's go, here, you have a headache? Want one of these?
Ah, new print, little, yellow, different.
You know, the product placement thing was before anybody had done product placement in film and television. So it was just so forward thinking. And the husband and wife team, Bonnie and Terry Turner, were so wonderful, so kind, and so smart and funny. And that Mike Myers was so in my corner. He said, you know, you're doing great. You're the one that I want. Keep doing what you're doing. And Penelope Spheris, one of the first major box office female directors, you know. It was an amazing little movie that nobody knew where it was going, that just blew up all over the world. Penelope came to my house for my birthday recently in January, which was amazing. I hadn't seen her in years. And then Mark Ferrari, who plays my guitarist in the movie, was there. And you know, the bassist was there. It just happened to be the way it happened in January, but I hadn't seen anybody in a long time.
I thought I knew most of Khaled's friends, but I don't believe I've met you before.
Fun working with Arnold. I mean, big movie star, and he was really nice. I saw him recently to give him a birthday present for his big birthday, and gosh, John Lovitz, I've been friends with him for a long time, still talk to him. Joe Coy, who I worked with on Easter Sunday, I've known him for decades also. My hair and makeup friend that's here with me, you know, Anya, and Cheryl McLean, who's over, you know, my publicist. I'm with people a long time in my career, you know, decades long. I love going stand-up paddleboarding, and we've been biking up the mountain, you know, up in the Hollywood Hills, and swimming in the ocean. We just came back from like a 10-day boat trip, and swimming and paddling and just enjoying being out in nature. I love being out in nature, basically. I think there's a very therapeutic aspect to being in nature. And my boyfriend and I got certified for scuba, and that has blown my mind in the past couple of years. We were in Hawaii doing Lilo and Stitch and got certified and went down swimming with sharks, going into wrecks. I just did a dive with whale sharks in the Philippines. It was magnificent. I highly recommend becoming PADI certified as a diver. My favorite comfort food? It's so tough. I mean, I love so much I love so much food. Brookley, who's a friend of mine, she was Miss Universe, and I just saw this old clip. The George Hamilton asked her, like, you know, if you had one day where you could do anything you want without any recriminations, any judgment, what would you do? She goes, I would eat everything I could. All my favorite foods, I would eat them twice because, we're always watching our weight. We're always trying to be like camera ready and, there's a billion-dollar business in Spanx and Skims and stuff because we all want to look a certain way. But ultimately, food's delicious and we love to, eat it. Like my childhood food is fried rice and Spam and all of that stuff. Macaroni salad with tons of mayonnaise, In-N-Out burger and chocolate milkshakes and, potato chips. But I try to be healthy and now I'm trying to eat like more nutritious food than what I grew up with. So, as soon as I saw the fruit platter in there, I was like, oh, I'm all about, the antioxidants and vitamin C. I stay healthy by sleeping on a regular schedule. I love drinking water. I don't drink soda or anything like that. It's funny, I used to like it when I was younger, but I love water. The hydration. I'm glad that I'm not one of those people that doesn't like the flavor of water. So I'm grateful that I enjoy it. So I can just chug water. Sleep, water, exercise. I love physical activity. I make everything into a physical activity, cleaning the house or, I've been moving boxes and doing squats and lunges as I'm walking across with stuff. I'll carry something, but instead of just carrying it, I'll be like, I'm going to do squats. I'm going to do lunges. I'm going to lift the box like this so I can work on the back of my arms. It's funny. Beauty secrets. I like this new thing from Kiehl's. It's a serum. It's a sunscreen. It's a little moisturizing. I love that. And the Embryolisse, it's a primer and a moisturizer. I like multitasking, things like that. And I love those CC creams from that woman who invented that billion-dollar company from her garage. I'm like, oh, why didn't I come up with that idea? That's It Cosmetics. And my new favorite thing, and then I love Anastasia's. Anastasia, she did the eyebrows and in Beverly Hills, but she has this amazing makeup line. And I just used her glitter lip gloss on this movie, and I love it. You have to check out the glitter lip gloss. It's the best. I'm almost done with this. I gotta go buy some more. I get so many gifts and gift bags, so I try different products, and that's where I know what I like. I like a certain product from this line, a certain product from that line. So I'm always cherry picking things, and if somebody uses a product on me, I always take a picture of the label, and I go, oh, I have to get this for the, skincare. I have to get this for the, whatever, coverage. And I love putting on that, that one size spray on till dawn. So if you're working out and you're sweaty, you know what I mean? It keeps the makeup on, which sounds dumb, but sometimes you want to still look pretty because you're, bicycling up the mountain with your boyfriend. I think every woman feels the pressure, but particularly actresses, because you're sort of frozen in time. You're locked in amber. This is what you look like at the height of your powers when you were young and most beautiful. In the quest to always live up to that and look like that and feel less than if you're not that level, it's a mind trip. So you have to really check yourself and make sure you're just the happiest, healthiest version of you and not trying to be that version of you from 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It's impossible, Then you start looking crazy because you're like, I want to look like I'm 28 forever. No, I want to look like I'm 50 forever, or as long as I can. Traveling hacks. I always carry my own personal shower cap because I have a lot of hair. And sometimes if my hair is all done, it gets even bigger, when it's teased up or curled. So I love, it's like a luxury thing. It's like the satin outside, the big bonnet. I love putting those on. And I hate the dinky little tight plastic disposable ones. First of all, I hate single-use plastics. I also carry a black satin pillowcase for if I take a nap in between and I just sleep like this, but if I lean over, I don't want to get my makeup all over the pillow or whatever. A black makeup washcloth to wash is always good too. My favorite thing about Hawaii is the green, verdant mountains and trees and the smell of flowers and the feel of the ocean, the warmth of the breeze. It's like Hawaii is nature's, love letter to the world. It's it's paradise. People from all over the world think of Hawaii as this dream place to go. And it is, I love wearing flower lace and having that smell on me all the time, that smell of the beauty of nature. And one of my Hawaiian songs that I sing on the second record is called Hey Nani. It's about finding the beauty in the faces of the people you love, in the places that you hold in your heart, and that's what Hawaii is for me. It's like, it's my heart. I am writing a movie that I'm looking forward to directing and starring in Hawaii. I want to bring a movie back to Hawaii that tells an intrinsically Hawaii-based story, because often Hawaii is the backdrop for other people's stories. You know, like even The Descendants, I mean, it's like, okay, these are the ritzy people, rich mainland people coming to Hawaii and using it as a backdrop. But being a local person, it's a very hard struggle. It's one of the highest cost of living with one of the lowest household incomes. And a lot of people are one paycheck or away from homelessness, or even they're working full-time jobs and can't afford to live in their childhood home. And with the devastation in Lahaina, we see how easy it is to fall off the bottom of society. So I want to do this movie to shine a light on that, because like Iamtongi, like my family, getting priced out of paradise is a real thing. And I wish there was a way we could get local Hawaii government to help keep people in their homes.
Baby, I know you haven't had it easy.
I was just thinking about doing another record, just like the kind of music that I want to do. I put something out I guess just after the pandemic on YouTube, on my channel at Tia Carrere Official. And it's kind of a country-ish anthem, but it's just a ballad called I'm Still Here. And it's fun doing songs and releasing them just because you love them and you want to hear them fully realized. And I shot the video in Hawaii at OK Farms on the Big Island of Hawaii in Hilo. And it just as a creative exercise to not have to fulfill what a record label tells you to do. I think it's great that now we have the ability to create our own music, to create our own movies, because of the technological advances in digital cameras and digital recording. You can do in your bedroom at home, as we saw from, Billie Eilish. She and her brother did those records in their bedroom, and it sounds unbelievable. Daniel Ho and I do our records in the hallway at his house. It gives you more freedom. It democratizes this art form that was before out of reach for people. It was too expensive to rent, Ocean's Way, $10,000 a day recording studio. $1,500 a day for the cheap one. We can make music because we want to and put it out because we want to, and it doesn't have to make sense to anybody but us.
I'm still here.
Gosh, well, life advice, I don't, far be it from me. I'm still, the crash test dummy of my own life, I like to say. But I always quote Sean Connery on this one. He says, the late, great Sean Connery that I got to work with on Rising Sun, when you walk into a room with your shoulders thrown back and your head held high, you look like you belong. And it's about, fake it till you make it. Walk into the room, with daring and dignity and own your space, Just makes me want to sit up straighter and taller just thinking about it, We deserve the place at the table. I'm just happy to still be here along for the ride all these decades later.
To hear more of this interview, visit our podcast, Life Minute TV, on iTunes and all streaming podcast platforms.